can find in our own homes to save money. You're not going to believe the story of my next guest. She and her husband live on a combined income of $30,000 a year. And yet they live in a huge house on 45 acres, complete with a pond and horses. Now, how do you do that? Please welcome Susan Smiley and her 10-month-old son, Galen. Susan, when your story came to us, I couldn't believe it. And we said, wait a minute, we got to see this. So we want to take the audience there. You shot some videotape of your home, and we want to take a look at that videotape. If you would explain to us, let's just roll that. This is the house you live on?
Yes, it belongs to the grandmother of a friend of mine. She's owned it for about 50 years. And it had been empty for a while. She can't live there anymore. She's in her 90s. It came to us furnished. There I am with Galen going out to feed the horses. I've had horses for a long time. We couldn't live without them.
45 acres.
They're cheap to keep at home. This is 45 minutes from downtown Washington, D.C. It takes 45 minutes to drive to the Capitol from our house.
So what are you doing? Are you just borrowing that?
We get the house for a reduced rent in exchange for fixing it up for her. It had gotten a little bit run down, been empty for a while. And so we do some work around the place, and we get it for a very reduced rent.
Wow. So just in exchange for taking care of the house, doing some handiwork around the house, repairing some things, that's how you get to live.
Yes.
My goodness, how in the world do you work this out? Anything that you would suggest as families are trying, I mean, $30,000, that's not a lot of money.
That actually is a little bit under what we make.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my husband makes a little bit more than that. But we did have a salary of $90,000 a year, and I quit working to stay home with my son. And I think that that's really the most significant thing that we've done, is given up. I was making more money than my husband. We gave up over half of our salary for me to stay home with him.
Anything that you would suggest to families who, like, I mean, how do you make this happen? I mean, where do you find houses like this?
Well, that I don't really know. I mean, it was luck. Like I said, it belonged to the grandmother of a friend of mine. The reason that we're able to live the way we do, I think, is because of our lifestyle. We do not go out and buy everything that we want the first second we think of it. We shop around. We keep things for a long time. Our cars are old. You know, we live frugally.
Question. Where does the money come from to keep up the property? The land and, you know,
well, we're renting the house. The homeowner is responsible for that.
How do people find this? I mean, suppose there's a couple who says, you know, I'd like to stay home and raise our children too, and we're not making enough money to live large like that, but is there some place they can look and find a house that's in care of something?
Actually, there was an article in the Washington Post about the time that I moved into this house that talked about a lot of places like this, estate-type homes, on property where they're looking for somebody to be a handyman. So I would just, you know, look in the real estate ads and stuff. Things come up, word of mouth.
Yeah, well, that's at least an idea.
Because when I told somebody where I was living, they said, oh, I saw an article in the Post about that, you know, people doing that kind of thing.
Okay, so they would look in classifieds, maybe in rental places in the newspaper.
And just ask around. I mean, really with us, it was dumb luck. We were moving to Washington, D.C. We mentioned it to some friends of ours, and
that's how it happened.
And they said, oh, my grandmother has this house that she needs somebody to move into.
That's right. Listen to your own friends and families that might need a little help here and there. Yes, sir. Over here. Quickly. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm familiar with what you're saying is in terms of the benefits, but what might be some of the downside to doing something like this?
It's a lot of work. You know, it is a lot of work. But my husband,
and so is Galen.
This is the real benefit, is staying at home with my child. But my husband works very hard. He does a lot of work around the place, and but he enjoys it. I mean, we wouldn't have done this if it was going to be just work.
Well, one thing that's true, you can save an awful lot of money if you're handy around the house, if you're good at making things on your own and repairing.
It's an incredible place to live.
I would say so. Now, you can call some of us in the audience, if we've been talking stingy. You can call us tightwads. But what we're trying to do is save money today. And when we come back, we're going to meet another woman who has turned cheapness into a booming business. We'll continue our conversation about living large on a small budget when we come back.
We have a whole turkey in here. We have a ham in here. So even though we're only spending $180 a month to feed our family, we're still eating quite a bit of meat.